Hello, welcome. This is Yiming. I'm going to do a demo on Excel.com. Excel, actually, when you log in the first time, they do have something called diagnostic. Right now, I'm using a computer. If you use the iPad, so on the very top, you can pick the skill set from which grade, or you can pick from diagnostics. If you have enough time, you can do a thorough diagnostic, but you don't, that's fine. I guess they know their limitations. They did something wonderful to compensate their limitation. When they give you a diagnostic, they give you quite a lot of next question. So you can choose. For example, if some question is too easy, you don't have to choose. You can choose the one you think is comfortable and then start answer from there. So here's different things. You can say, okay, maybe I need to understand this, or maybe you understand that. So you can do anything you want. So they give you quite a lot to test. So that's the part I like about Excel, give you the freedom. Make sure when you use Excel, don't be greedy. So take a break in between. We're going to go to diagnostic. Let's take a look at the demo account just to see what's the diagnostic result. The diagnostic result comes out before you even finish. So you can just do a little bit, then they give you diagnostic result. Like for example, in this particular case, the fraction was never diagnosed. There's nothing about it. And then the numbers, there was diagnosed this much, and actually it's not fully diagnosed yet. If you want to truly understand the person's ability on numbers and operations, you need to do more diagnostic. And then so algebra and algebraic thinking, it's pretty well diagnosed already. They say you are in the 10th to 12th grade level and give you recommended scale as well. And then for the geometry, it's from 790 to 970, so that means the 7th to 9th grade level. And then already give you some diagnostic result already, but you can diagnose more. And the measurement was never diagnosed, so there's no result there. And data, statistics, probability, they did some diagnostic, but it's not fully done yet, so you cannot tell much. And then for the language art, vocabulary, this one is on 6th to 8th grade level. Reading is 6th to 8th grade level as well. Writing was never touched. Grammar, mechanics was never touched. So they give you overall score, but it's not fully diagnostic. You can find out what's your diagnostic action plan. They give you a detail. When you do more diagnostic, your report is more accurate. But before that, you can get some sense already. So now let's take a look at the diagnostic action plan, even though it's not fully done, but you can get some idea of that. It's recommended to finish, of course, but then as we said, Excel diagnostic is very lengthy, very tedious. So a lot of people probably cannot even have the patient to finish. Do a little bit at a time, a little bit a day. They recommend 15 minutes a week, but then if you want to get your results faster, maybe 15 minutes a day. They talk about the number sense. It's not really finished diagnostic, so they don't have a concrete result yet. But this one's pretty diagnosed well, so they give you next one. Even in this case, you can still do more. Fraction was never diagnosed, geometry was diagnosed a little bit. They ask you to practice on this. That's what they believe your next scale should be. And measurement data was not fully diagnostic, so cannot give you enough. Okay, so they give you an English part. The reading was not diagnosed yet, so cannot tell you. Recommended scale usually come from mistake in your diagnostic result. There's a synonym they ask you to do. It's a 7th grade thing. It matches with what they said. 3.5 means the halfway to 6th grade to the halfway to 8th grade. You are in the range because you're not fully diagnosed. And the writing was not even diagnosed at all. Grammar, mechanics was never touched. So that's this person's diagnostic result. Let's go to learning. And when you're learning, you can go to scale plan. So scale plan is really good. We can take a look. Use computer. Don't use iPad or phone. It's not good for your eye. Computer is perfect. Look, I can change. I can pick subject, maybe math. In the math scale, you can pick a California curriculum or other curriculum. They have quite a lot of books, and you can click on that to find out in the elementary school, middle school, and then upper grade. This thing goes all the way to calculus. So higher math, pre-calculus, and they have test preparation. You have ACT, GED, PSAT, SAT. Let's try a PSAT. Oh, they even have map. You can do map test. Okay, you can do that. Let's come here. PSAT. Let's click. Okay, so you're here now. They tell you what you need to do. Okay, there's algebra. You need to do with this problem solving data, those ratio rates and percent, graph, additional topics in math. I actually wouldn't recommend you to do this because you don't know what you need. Probably the best way is still go through the diagnostic and based on diagnostic find out where you are. You might want to look for the scale plan, okay? You can search, pretend I'm not really good at quadratic. Then I just say quadratic equation. Okay, very good. This is solving a quadratic equation using square roots, using the zero product property, by factoring, by complete the square, using the quadratic formula. So this is perfect. You can see that I didn't even finish typing. They already give you quite a lot of suggestions. If you still think that's not enough, there's more. See, based on your own ability, you can click each of them. Let's do the first one. The first one they come up, they give you a question. Of course, let's say, I don't know, I want to learn. Then you click learn with an example. They tell you d squared equal 36, so d must be equal to 6 or negative 6. So the answer is 6 or negative 6. Let's say I still don't understand. Then you can say watch video. Believe it or not, they have a detailed explanation on the video as well. Let me go find out for you. You can put the full size.
Today we're going to be learning how to solve a quadratic equation by using square roots. Let's start by filling in the blank here. Blank squared equals 16. Let's think about that. What number squared gives us 16? 4 squared equals 16. Are there any other numbers that, when squared, equals 16? We can also square negative 4 to get 16, since negative 4 times negative 4 equals positive 16. So there are two numbers that can fill in the blank here, positive 4 and negative 4. Now let's think of how we can solve that as an equation. X squared equals 16. Since taking a square root and squaring a number are inverse operations, we can take the square root of both sides to isolate x. But both 4 and negative 4 satisfy this equation. So we'll need to show both the positive and negative root of 16, which we indicate by writing this plus or minus symbol in front of the square root. So x equals plus or minus 4, which we write out fully as x equals 4 or x equals negative 4. That brings us to our key idea. When solving a quadratic equation that has no bx term, we can solve by isolating the x squared and taking the square root. And as like we just saw, we don't want to forget to take the positive and negative root. Let's try some examples. For our first example, we want to solve 5p squared minus 45 equals 0 for p. Again, we'll want to start by isolating the p squared. We'll need to add 45 to both sides. Simplifying cancels out the 45s on the left and leaves us with 5p squared equals 45. Now we need to divide by 5 on both sides. When we simplify, on the left our 5's cancel, leaving us with p squared equals 9. Since we have now isolated p squared, our last step is to take the positive and negative square root of 9, which means p equals 3 or p equals negative 3.
How about this? Using zero product property. That's what they show you. And then you can find out the detailed example. Zero product means that each of the things, when you multiply together equals 0, that means any of the factors could be 0. So u plus 2 could be 0, u plus 3 could be 0. When u plus 2 is 0, u must be equal to negative 2. When u plus 3 equals 0, u must be equal to negative 3. So the answer is like that. And if you're confused more, watch the video. Completing the square. Okay, that's another skill set. So you have x squared minus 10x plus 16 equals 0, right? And then complete square, we know that x squared minus 10x plus 25 is a complete square. So we're going to add 25 to both sides of the equation. They bring the 17 to the other side. And then we need to find the missing component to make this a complete square, which is 25. So you add 25 to both sides of the equation. Then negative 17 add 25 give you 8. And now you're going to have x minus 5 squared equal 8. Now you can use the square root property to find out what is x. Looking for more, you can try this. Okay, they actually explain quite a lot to you. They said that you can solve any quadratic equation using a method called completing the square. You can also complete the square by writing the quadratic into a word text form. And then they teach you how to do it. Very thorough. It's more like verbal. If you want to read, you can practice right here. Fun fact. Can be derived by complete square. Okay, so let's take a look. This quadratic formula. Okay, so they tell you quadratic equation looks like this. Ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Then you can solve for x. The root is this. But how and why? They will hopefully did they explain to you how to derive? Not this part, but they talk about discriminant. They actually do teach quite a lot. And then they tell you what is the discriminant. After discriminant, you can find no real solution, one real solution, or two real solutions. See? You can do click practice now. I think it's really useful, especially higher grade. In case you are higher grade, but you don't know what kind of skill set you are missing, I highly recommend you try Excel too. Based on the diagnostic, there are recommended paths for you. There are recommended paths for math, right? And then there's a recommended path for English. This one they said is government, part of English and government. And then there's a path for science, fossil. And there are paths for English. Let me click that. Okay, so let's do an example. Select the word or phrase that is redundant and can be removed without changing the meaning of the text. The redundant words. Redundant words and phrases needlessly repeat information that is given elsewhere in the sentence. Unnecessary repetition creates wordy and polished sentence. Removing redundant words or phrases can improve your writing. The monuments that we visited in Washington, D.C. were huge and giant. Huge and giant imply the same thing, and giant is redundant and should be removed from the sentence. Last month, Julie and Alex collaborated together on a project for the marketing team. The word collaborated already implies together, so the word together is redundant and should be removed from the sentence. Right now and currently are redundant. Right now can be removed without changing the meaning of the sentence. So it should be taken out. Spectator and players are not currently allowed to enter the sports arena. This one, they didn't give us a video lesson, but the math they did. Let me see whether that's only case. This organism is this. This is called a bull shark, which is the organism's scientific name. I think this one. This organism is this. It is called a monarch butterfly. What is this organism's common name? Monarch butterfly. Okay, this organism is this. It is also called a North American beaver. So what is the organism's scientific name? So it's this one. Okay, let me find more. It belongs to the social study, 7th grade, Foundation of Maya Civilization. The following map shows the locations of several ancient civilizations in North and South America. Look at the map, then answer the question below. So we have A, B, C, D. So A is somewhere in the east coast of America. B is somewhere in the north coast, but actually it's closer to California and Texas somewhere. And C is in the Central America. And then D is the South America. Is that somewhere near Chile? Okay, which letter marks the territory controlled by the ancient Maya civilization? The following map, okay, so that's the review. And you answered D, incorrect. And they said solution, okay? So here is ancestral this, and this is another name. Oh, Maya is right middle. This is Inca. Okay, so the ancient Maya civilization developed in Mesoamerica. Mesoamerica is a region that stretches from central Mexico through northern Central America. This map shows the territory controlled by ancient Maya civilization. Today, this area covers parts of many countries: Mexico, Belize, Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, and then here is a picture. This photograph shows the ruins of a Maya city called something. Like many Maya cities, this is surrounded by a lush tropical forest. They do explain to you. So now they ask you to complete the text, and we're still in the social study. Archaeologists believe that the ancestors of the Maya first arrived in Central America more than 12,000 years ago. At first, these people were and traveled long distances to find food. But over time, they learned to grow crops instead. By at least 1500 BCE before Christ, they began to settle in permanent something. This was the beginning of Maya civilization. I think that this one sounds like A. Hunter-gatherer villages. That may be right. Oh, okay. Oh, good. After you're done, they give you more explanation. How did the Maya's ancestors get to Central America? Archaeologists aren't sure how people first arrived in the Americas. Here are the first two common theories. Theories means people believe, okay? It looks like they traveled from Asia to Northern California and South California. The land bridge theory says that people traveled by foot from present-day Siberia to present-day Alaska, right here. During the last ice age, ocean levels were lower than they are now, exposing a strip of land called a land bridge connecting the two continents. Okay, there's another theory. It's called the coastal route theory. It says that people sailed to the Americas. They traveled in small boats along the coast or from island to island. They could have arrived in Central and South America much earlier than people traveling over the land bridge. Interesting. The number of people in a society depends on its food supply. The table below shows several different methods of obtaining food. It also shows the population density that each method could support. Population density is a way of measuring how crowded an area is. Use the table to answer the question below. Methods of obtaining food and population density, hunting and gathering. So you can have up to 1 person per square kilometer. Herding the animals 1 to 5. Slash and burn farming, you have 10 to 100. Traditional farming, 100 to 1,000. Modern farming, 1,000 to 2,000. As Maya settlements grew, the population density for some areas increased to around 600 people per square kilometers. Which method of obtaining food will support the population size? So we find that it's 600 people. So we look up 1 to 5, 10 to 100, 100 to 1,000. So 600 is within this range. So must be traditional farming. Let's just show you whether you know how to read a table. So what farming method did the Maya use? The Maya used many agricultural techniques to grow enough food to feed their growing population. These were some of their most common farming methods. Shifting cultivation. Maya farmers grew crops in one area for only a few years before the soil began to lose its nutrients. Then they moved on to a new area to quickly clear new fields. They cut down existing trees and burned firs and shrubs. Sometimes this method is called slash and burn agriculture. This method was not sustainable over time. However, so the Maya also used other methods of farming. This one's called terrace farming. Many Maya settlements were in steep, hilly areas to create room to plant. Maya farmers carved flat steps called terraces into the hillsides. Raised field farming. Other Maya settlements were in swampy, marshy areas with little available farmland. The Maya built raised bed above swampy area to plant their crops. The soil pulled from the swamps were especially fertile. And now they're going to ask you, actually you can learn a lot by just doing the exercise. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, that's it. So have a nice day. Bye-bye.